Good evening once again, everyone. Thank you for joining our Twitter space this evening. Um, we are starting in a minute. We are waiting for two more speakers, Mr. Malik and Victor. But uh, I have my colleague, Tessie Kaven, so she's going to co host with me. My name is Davis Hijiro. I'm a reporter with the New Times, and today we are having another topic about artificial intelligence. Please bear with us as we onboard other speakers to start the conversation while they are here. But the conversation is about artificial intelligence. It is a second part of the previous one. The previous one was held last week on Wednesday. Was also about artificial intelligence. I have Victor. Victor has joined us. We are left with Malik, who is joining us shortly as well. As I was saying, we had a Twitter space about artificial intelligence as well. So we are on a task to demystify this technology here in Rwanda. So Malik is also here, and this brings us to the start of our conversation. Pamela, if you can hear me, I sent you an invitation to speak. As we wait for Pamela to accept the invitation, allow me to listen, to try and hear if our speakers we can hear them. Hi, Malik.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, Malik, we can hear you. How are you?
Perfect. Very good, thank you.
Great. Thank you for joining us this evening. Alan, can we hear you speak? Say hello to everyone who was tuned in.
Hi, everyone, and hi, Davis. Thanks for having us.
Alan?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you, Alan?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you, Davis?
I'm well. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us this evening. Let me try Victor. Hi, Victor.
Hello.
Yes, Victor.
Hi, Davis. Yes, I've been around.
Great.
Hope you're
You're
also
good?
well. I'm good, thank you.
Nice. So we start our second conversation on artificial intelligence. Last week's was about artificial intelligence and the Rwandan culture. So this time we are talking about, I believe you might have seen the flyer. We are having a conversation about whether the technology, artificial intelligence in Rwanda is here to take away our jobs or to empower the workforce. And so as we all know, as artificial intelligence becomes increasingly integrated into various sectors, concerns about its impact on employment are growing. So in Rwanda, in particular, where the economy is evolving through innovation and technology, the question remains, is AI here to take our jobs or assist us in doing them better? So this Twitter space will explore the potential of artificial intelligence in Rwanda's workforce, address concerns about job displacement, while highlighting how the technology can enhance productivity, innovation, and job creation in different sectors like agriculture, healthcare, education, and ICT. And I have my fellow co-host, Tessie Kaven, who we co-hosted also the previous Twitter space. Tessie. Nice. Pamela has joined as a speaker. Hi, Pamela. Can we try to test your sound?
Hello, Davis. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Great. Let's get the conversation started. So AI taking away jobs, that is what we begin with. In the first place, is it even a real fear or is it a misconception? Mr. Malik, let me begin with you.
All right. Thank you very much, Davis. Again, I'm glad to be here. Based on the last conversation we had, and some follow-up chats I've seen, maybe I want to start a little bit by trying to explain AI, right? So that we don't always keep connecting generative AI to just as the only tool of AI. So I would like maybe first to start by explaining that artificial intelligence it's really like teaching a computer to think and then learn a little bit like a human, yeah? So instead of just following the exact instruction, AI can use different patterns and information. It has learned to solve problems. So it can solve problems, make decisions, or even talk to people. Yeah. So for as a matter of fact, this camera we have on the road, so on one way or another, they have some AI on it. Yeah. Because if you are driving and then there is a particular sensor that would sense the speed you have, and then be able to capture your speed, take a picture, send a picture somewhere in someone else's server, analyze that picture, and then that comes back to you. There is a lot of machine learning tools that are within there. So if I even take that example, you can imagine the precise information that those robots are providing, and then also the number of policemen that it has reduced, and the shift of policemen it has reduced on the road, because there is now one machine that is standing on the road that is doing what maybe 20 police would have done in 24 hours. So the real fear here is that AI can replace certain jobs, right? Especially those that involved repetitive tasks, as what I said on the road, or things like data. The misconception is, just to capture if you're still hearing me, someone was calling in. So the misconception is that AI may eliminate some jobs, but moreover, it also really, really help us to maintain and improve other different jobs, right? Especially like AI in technology. So it makes AI really improve the way we use our technology. It makes our job much easier, faster. And then also it can allow people to not do the boring, repetitive tasks, but people really to stay and focus on much more complex and creative, meaningful work. So that said, eventually AI will remove some jobs, but it will also create some other opportunity, and then it will make some other jobs more efficient than they were before. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Malik. Alan, I would like to hear your take on this as well, as you had a hiring firm, Talent Match. From where you stand, what's your take on this topic?
Thank you very much, Davis. Can you guys hear me? Just confirm that you can hear me, Davis.
Yes, we can hear you, Alan.
I want to go off of what Malik was saying. It is true that some jobs, particularly in Rwanda, are already being replaced by AI. Even though in Rwanda the pace is still slower compared to other places, you can slowly see AI creeping into our lives slowly. An excellent example that Malik gave was the police, the Sophia on the roads that, you know, is replacing a lot of police guys. But from Malik's point of view as well, there are more jobs that are being created, and I think we'll get into this at some point in the conversation. But if you think about who is running Sophia behind scenes, that is a job that didn't exist pre-COVID, you know, before we had Sophias in Rwanda. Today, in the police department, there's a department that is entirely dedicated to running Sophias effectively and making sure the data is being taken advantage of and leveraged and cleaned, and, you know, so a new job came up that didn't exist before AI. However, it requires, and I, again, we'll get into this at some point, but it's going to require us as Rwandans to adjust and to pivot our skills to accommodate AI without necessarily losing all the jobs. And when you think about elsewhere, for example, where AI has been adapted in most of the, you know, daily activities, especially the mundane and routine activities, you know, you're talking about call centers, you're talking where people anticipate these, like, you know, we're going to get the same questions over and over. We can automate that. So if you are in a very routine, mundane kind of position, job, or task that you have to do on a daily basis, you come back every single day, do the same thing, there's a very high chance that you're going to be replaced, even though you haven't been replaced in Rwanda at the moment. There's a very high chance that at some point your employer is going to realize, hold on, I can do this job much faster with, you know, much efficiency if I replace this person with AI. And so, but at the same time, this AI is fed information by us humans. So it won't take away your job to feed the information to this, you know, system. You will still be relevant if you can work on yourself and work on the skills that are necessary for you to continue to be relevant to the AI driven economy. So the question of, is this fear a reality? Yes, it is a reality. It hasn't fully taken over, you know, work and education and not even elsewhere, but it's slowly creeping in. And so we all have to be vigilant, if I might say, and think about how do we continue to be relevant in this age and what skills do we need to be working on. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Malik. Thank you to everyone who is tuning in. We are having a conversation about AI in Rwanda. Is the technology here to take our jobs or to empower the workforce? We are having the conversation in two languages, both Kinyarwanda and English. Please feel free to use either one of them. And please, if you have a contribution, if you have a question, we have a hashtag. It's hashtag TNT Spaces. Please use that to share the space wide. And also, if you have a question, please use the comment section. Send the question, send the contribution, and if time allows us, we'll have some people join us to speak, to give their contribution or question. So thank you so much for thank you again, Malik and Alan. Alan, you talked about something. You talked about how an example that Malik gave of Sophia's, these cameras, traffic cameras that are on the road, how they created a job that wasn't in existence. Before we didn't have these cameras, but now we do have these cameras. And now this brings me to the next question, which I want to address to Mr. Victor. With experts predicting that the impacts of artificial intelligence and automation on the job market will be significant. This is actually according to the World Economic Forum, which says 85 million jobs will be displaced as people continue to embrace AI. And it is also believed that 97 million new jobs will also be created by the AI revolution. Victor, I want to ask you, what jobs do we have at risk? And what new jobs are we most likely to see? The floor is yours, Victor.
Thank you, Davis. Um, um, Thank you to the audience. My name is Victor Mvunyi. I work with the Ministry of ICT in the Department of Innovation and Emerging Technologies. And yes, I've been part of the team that has been working on AI, especially the AI policy, but also working on some projects around AI, of course, within that realm of implementing the AI policy itself. So as you've just asked, what are the jobs? I think this is not news, especially these jobs that are repetitive, that can be easily automated, can be easily automated, are the ones that are at risk. But again, as you said, this AI, I think also Malik talked about it, feeds on data. So we're also seeing like a whole trend of other jobs that are being created in the data docket, if I may call it like that, whereby institutions just or businesses do not just see the fact that they're putting their services online as an end in itself, but rather the data that is going to come after, after digitizing their services. This data is going to be really like that gold, that mine gold that they're going to be having, that will help them to expand or to even harness the services that they're giving. So there is a whole trend that is coming through. But let me give you just a little bit of an analogy of things that I maybe I've even observed like live without even talking about AI necessarily. I believe the audience or the people who are here, who are on this space, all know like how this ATM came about. There's a while ago where people were just using the guichets. So, but again, with the ATM, when the ATM came, people were like, okay, fine, maybe the people who are working at the guichet, they're going to lose their job, A, B, C, D, F, G. Yes, that one could also have happened. But if you can also flip the coin and look at it in another perspective, whereby these people who are working at the guichets, they were going to be actually trained to even do more valuable job on the bank perspective. Maybe doing analysis, maybe, analyzing if so and so could get a better loan or what, or even other things. So there are things always when the technology is coming, there's that disruption, but also it comes with opportunity. And of course, that study says it well. But we also even have like our own study that we've done, but maybe I'll go into details later. But it also projects like those kind of jobs that are at risk in terms of being automated, but also speaks of what would be the strategies that we should adopt, how we're going to upskill our people. Again, I don't want to be very pessimistic. For instance, let me give you another analogy, maybe to try to incite this conversation further.
Victor,
Okay, sorry. Yes.
uh, uh, do you just hinted on some of the research you've done? Do you have like some of the new jobs that we are expected to see in the future with the emergence of artificial intelligence? Do you have like,
Yeah.
names, numbers, or what kind of jobs really?
Yes, that's what I was saying. I was mentioning about the advent of this whole data management, the whole data management arena, if I may call it like that, where people are going to be like the people who are literate in data science, who are literate in automation, who are literate in maneuvering, um, if it's a robot or programming, all those things. So these are the kind of jobs that are going to really be on the market. Of course, they are even now on the market, but we're going to see more of these use cases coming to our market. So the study is also is open, but it's also really also evoked in the policy itself. The numbers, of course, we are only projecting what is going to be the impact. And this again is a study. This is the impact of AI, whereby we've been looking at, let's say, like for instance, in agriculture as a sector, whereby we're looking at how things are being done, and then we look into within the context of Rwanda and what can be done in terms of use case. And then from those use cases, that's when they're trying to compare, like in terms of what would be the impact of these use cases vis-a-vis of how things are being done. So that impact is also accounted for within 5 to 10 years, whereby it is projected that will bring about more than 6 or around 6% of our GDP. So when we talk about GDP, of course, it's the production within the country. So it also comes with it is intrinsic. It's not really, you cannot go to the granularity because it's a study and it's a projection. Nonetheless, we are seeing a lot of these things really coming. Again, the upskilling is there, the technology is there, but it's all about, I think, and then I think this is what exactly Davis you're doing. It's really to put this conversation live to the people, so that we also really try to share this knowledge and to see what can we do together to actually take advantage of the strategies and take advantage of the technology that we have. I hope I've tried to answer what you asked.
Victor, thank you very much, and good evening to everybody. Yes, indeed, you have answered, but we will definitely come back to you just for a bit more clarity, especially just going beyond policy. What more are you doing? But just be thinking about that as I bring Pamela into this conversation. Pamela, if you can hear me, I do remember when we had the last space, you were quite strong on knowledge, gaining knowledge. So my question to you is, looking at our education system today, in the country, would you say that we are ready for the AI revolution? And what should we prepare our young learners? Pamela, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Tessie. Thank you, Davis, and the whole team at the New Times. And good evening, everyone. Thank you once again for having us. At some point, I was thinking that you want to make us AI experts, yeah. But I'm loving these conversations because we learn a lot from them as we exchange, ideas, knowledge, facts. So on the question you asked me, I would say yes, because Rwanda is a country that has embraced technology and looking at the education sector, it's not lagging behind, on the vision of the technology advancements and everything that goes with that. So I would say yes, Rwanda is ready, but there is still a journey to make. And I would say we need to do that journey on 2 points. The first point is, Malik, Allen, they've talked about that. Even Victor, there are some jobs that will be affected. I don't want to say abolished. They will be, or they have already been affected by AI or technology in general, because we've seen that even before we knew the word, we started using the word AI, yeah. So there are jobs that will be affected or have already been affected. So number one, we need to be strategic on the jobs that cannot be affected at all by AI. The jobs that AI cannot replace, the jobs that cannot be automated. Yeah. maybe Malik, if he's still here, he can maybe touch on the creative industry. At some point, I think that's one of the industries that may not really be replaced or automated by AI. Even some other jobs, we can do research about that and then orient our education towards that, So we need to ask ourselves to do research, to think further and say, what are the jobs that cannot be replaced, that cannot be automated? If we are able to do that projection, it means we will also be able to design our education policies and programs towards that direction. Number two is what Alan talked about. Even though we are saying that AI is going to affect jobs or employment in general, but it's also coming with other opportunities. So I think we also need to orient our education system towards, strengthening those opportunities. Let's say with our Rwanda Coding Academy, or the way our system is encouraging science and STEM, science and technology studies and careers. So, because to me, there is always someone behind that machine. There will be always some human touch behind any discovery, any new technology that we see. So if we keep that track of training or nurturing developers, let's say developers, we will have more young people or more professionals in that area who will be able to create even new technologies that we are not seeing today. Yeah. So if we keep training our children to create, we have young developers, young coders. I don't know if that word exists, but so I'm seeing this the impact of education in those two areas. First, focusing on the jobs that won't be affected in the future, and number two, leveraging on the opportunities of AI. How can we train students today who will become professionals in the future? To leverage on all those opportunities. We shouldn't see AI as a threat. I think I said that last time. We should look at the opportunities it's coming with. We also keep thinking further. We have those Sophias today, but we will need even more machines, more robots, more.
Pamela, I think you are on mute there. But let me just pick it up from where you stopped, leveraging on AI and preparing our children today for the AI future. But let me just still staying on that particular question, Malik, allow me to ask you this question, still going on with the thread of education. As we know, AI is, it's forever changing, it's evolving very fast. So then how do we prepare a child today who's going to join the workforce, say in the next, 5, 6 years, finding new technology? How can the education system, catch up with AI, if that makes sense? Malik, the floor is yours.
Well, education need to catch up with modern AI. So what really makes a good education? Indeed, right? It's exposing our kids to different things, different learning opportunities, and allow them to explore a lot of things at earlier age. Yeah. So I am sure, I haven't seen actually one, but I'm sure now people in the gaming industry have started to do AI based games that kids could be exposed earlier on as they're learning mathematics, they are learning constructions, and then every single games they have that provide different level of education. So that is one of the things we should look at. But in general, in terms of that's the kids of earlier stage, right? So it's really more of exposing them as much as they should be exposed to everything else. So they should also be exposed to AI. But of course, when you're talking about kids, there is a lot of measures then to understand what are you exposing to a kid, and what are you not exposing to a kid, because AI also could be really dangerous. So you need to be very careful to what tools are you exposing your kids on. But again, I will keep talking about this every time I speak to make sure that people are not calling generative AI just AI, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying expose a kid to a ChatGPT, but I'm sure there is somewhere another form of robot of exploration that a kid could play with that would really provide good level of education for a kid to grow up and understanding AI. That's one. But then again, if the world is changing, education has to change as well. Yeah. If you go, some universities are still teaching C++, Visual Basics, and then those type of really old school computer programming. So at least to catch up with the ones that are in school now, you need to expose them to modern learning technologies. So let them learn new things that would help them to catch up, understanding machine learning, and actually start developing their own machine learning tools as well. Yeah. And let's really not just look education as a boxed. I feel like education is one of the things that has been very boxed for so long. And it's really time that we realize that the most successful people are not necessarily the ones who have been boxed in that sense of education. We at 63, we have about 20 employees, and none of them went to a creative school. So most of them are self-taught, or others came with basic skills, and they will be able to train as they were doing. They were working in the agency. So and then that's really how machine learning and AI in general works. So people need to be exposed to different opportunities, to explore and understand that at early stage. So I guess that's really what I would talk about education and AI.
Thank you Malik, urakoze cyane, urakoze Pamela. Nk'uko twabivuze kare, abantu batwisunze muri kino kiganiro, murakoze cyane. Turi kugira ikiganiro ku ikoranabuhanga rya artificial intelligence. Turi kwibaza ese iri koranabuhanga rije gutwara akazi k'abanyarwanda, cyangwa rije kugira ngo rifashe ryunganire abakozi mu kazi kabo ka buri munsi? Munyemerere mvuge mu ncamake ibyo Pamela na Malik badusangije. Pamela we yibanze ku kuntu ikoranabuhanga rya artificial intelligence ku kibazo bari bamubaje kijyanye n'ukuntu abana bari mu ishuri uyu munsi ni gute bakurikiranwa, ni gute uburezi butangwa uyu munsi bwatangwa ku buryo umwana usoza ishuri asoza afite ubumenyi kuri rino koranabuhanga ririmo rirakoreshwa muri segiteri zose zitandukanye z'akazi. Bamwe bavuga ko dukwiriye gufatirana aya mahirwe ya artificial intelligence, dukwiye gutoza abana. Kandi agaruka ku kintu yavuzeho ubushize muri space ubushize twagize ijyanye n'ikoranabuhanga rya artificial intelligence n'umuco nyarwanda. Avuga ko tudakwiye kuribona nk'ikibazo, ahubwo dukwiye kubonamo ibisubizo muri rino koranabuhanga. Dukwiriye kubona buryo ki bwose ikoranabuhanga rya artificial intelligence ryagirira akamaro abanyarwanda. Malik nawe yongeye kugaruka ku kintu cyo kuvuga ngo abana ni gute twabamenyereza rino koranabuhanga, twabamenyereza ibintu byose bijyanye no kuba bamenyera gukoresha artificial intelligence ku buryo basohoka bagera ku murimo w'isoko, ku isoko ry'umurimo bafite ubwo bumenyi bikaborohera. Aravuga ati rero nanone hakwiye kuba hariho ingamba, hakwiye kuba n'ingamba zo kumenya ibyo bamenyereza abana bakiri batoya, ukamenya ko hari ibyo exposingaho, ubereka, ubamenyereza, hari n'ibyo utabamenyereza. Malik nanone atanga urugero rwa 63 Creative Agency akuriye. Malik is the CEO of 63 Inc. Avuga ukuntu nabo urugero rw'abantu bakorana nabo, abakozi ba 63 ni abakozi abenshi bazi bafite ubumenyi busanzwe bw'ibanze, ariko kubera ko babatoza bakagira bakabimenyera. Avuga ko rero n'abanyarwanda cyane cyane abakiri batoya mu burezi nibaramuka bahawe ayo mahirwe bazabimenyera. Thank you so much. My next question, please remember, we are taking in responses, we are taking in questions, and you can direct your question to whoever speaker you want, and a contribution as well. We have a comment section. I can see we have some incoming questions, contributions. Thank you so much. Keep sharing this space. And I want to bring in Alan again. Alan, how can we incorporate artificial intelligence in the workplace without putting jobs at risk? Because I know there might be someone who is seated at home or who is employed at the moment, but who is wondering, who is worried that they might be replaced one day. But how can businesses in Rwanda incorporate this technology without putting jobs at risk? Alan, you can take over.
Thank you very much, Davis, and my previous fellow panelists for all the input. Actually, this is a fantastic question, especially going off of the education conversation. Oftentimes, and I'm glad Malik mentioned this, that, education has been boxed like university, you are in a school, in a setting that, is very structured. But I want us to look at education beyond that, and this will make sense when it goes into the workplace. And I want to say, one of the things that employers need to do, or businesses, is to educate their teams. Upskilling, reskilling. Before you adapt, any type of technology in your company or in your organization or in your school, do you reskill and upskill your staff to be able to adapt? Because if you do that, they will not be replaced. Instead, they will redirect their skills and redirect and add on new skills to do another part of the job without being replaced. So while, it's inevitable some jobs are going to be replaced, I know a company in San Francisco, it's a pizza company. It has automated almost all their processes, from dough mixing to putting ingredients to literally. But in the back of their office, they have everybody making sure that on their system, that the ingredients that have been mixed are the right ingredients within the computer system, within the machine. So I think what we need to be thinking about is, yes, there are jobs that are going to be lost, but how can we reskill and upskill people to take on new jobs within the context of the technology that we're adapting? So if you think about, for example, in HR, a lot of processes haven't been automated yet. If you ask me, for example, for us, we've automated CV detection. You can upload your CV, and the if there's a criteria that we say, if this person didn't have a bachelor's degree, eliminate them, it will eliminate you right there and then. However, we have to train our staff to be able to not just eliminate the person who doesn't have a degree, but to actually go in and analyze, okay, maybe this person doesn't have a bachelor's degree, but they have a certificate that even qualifies them more than someone who has a bachelor's degree. That's an example. So you need to retrain your staff. And this is why, while I said that jobs are going to be, lost, there's going to be more opportunities for people to actually adjust and to be able to pivot and take on new opportunities. So this is one of the examples. Another example I want to give, how we can really help to adapt AI, but without necessarily putting our staff and our people at risk, or even the workforce in general. And it goes back to education. If we educate the young people about the future to be able to adapt to the future technologies, there's no reason why they can't think creatively. And I think I'm glad we have creatives on this call, because you can ask AI or ChatGPT to write for you, let's an email. But it's the information that you're going to feed it that will bring you the actual message that you're looking for. If you just tell ChatGPT, write for me an essay about, maybe I'm going to college, write for me a college application essay, it will just give you a very generic essay that will not have a personalized touch to it. I do a lot of writing in my daily work, and it's easy for me to go and say, ChatGPT, give me a proposal for, let's say, a grant for one of our programs. The level of details that I can put in as Alan and someone who is close to the work that we do is not in any way going to be close to what ChatGPT is going to give in the end. So I have to feed ChatGPT with the information, and maybe it can help me polish. And this is where effectiveness and, improving our work comes in. You feed it what you want it to polish, what you want it to help you streamline, but you cannot give the entire responsibility to technology or to AI. So you need to have the skills that will support the technology that you're bringing in to thrive and for people not to lose their jobs. So I know I went around, but I want to emphasize the importance of education, skilling and reskilling while we adapt new technologies.
Alan, thank you very much. You make very important points there. Skilling, upskilling is quite important. And I will let you marinate on one of the questions on the comment where somebody is actually, this is David Kaitare, who is asking what particular skills are employers looking for as far as the AI-driven workplace is concerned. You can be thinking about it as I bring in Victor. Victor, I also want to ask you one of the questions asked on the comment section. This is from Sandrine Mignon, and she says, how is a ministry and other institutions in charge, that is NCSA for data privacy and data protection, and other institutions like RURA, how are they helping in safeguarding the ethical implications that come with AI? Victor, if you can hear me, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the question. The policy itself speaks of an ethical guideline, but also we have a separate ethical guideline, by the way, but that was developed by RURA in tandem with all the institutions that you've mentioned. But also we also have like the law. We have like the DPP law, the personal the Privacy and Personal Data Protection Law. All these legal instruments that are there to support, to make sure that, we safeguard people online, we safeguard people like subjected to AI tools, but nonetheless, we need to do more. That is something that that I'm seeing. Like, of course, the awareness is needed, but also the awareness for people to understand what are their rights, how do they know, like, if someone has infringed their rights in this regard. So there's a lot to do when it comes to awareness, but as of what the ministry is doing together with the other institution, with stakeholders, we have developed all these legal instruments. We've developed policy instruments, and then we also really keep educating, making sure that people understand where we're heading with what is at stake when it comes to their personal data, even the data itself, but also even how these tools, these AI tools, these new technologies, how do they really come to be handed to them rather than really, be affecting them. So if that's how I could answer that.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Alan. Please take over, and you please respond to Kaitari's question, and I hope, Sandrine, the response from Victor is satisfying. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. So there are the hard skills, what we call the hard skills. So this would be programming, data science. Those are hard skills that AI definitely needs. But there are skills that we also need that are not necessarily hard skills. And these include creativity, critical thinking, adaptability. There's people who cannot change. They are focused on how things have been done. It has always been like that. I've had this case. I was recently constructing a house, and one of the abafundi, so ndamubwira yari yashize itara, reka mvuge ikinyarwanda n'abantu banyumva, afite ukuntu yari yashizeho socket ihengamye, like umugozi wo kunyuza w'insinga yayihengamishije, and I was telling him ndashaka ko uyigorora kandi sinshaka ko insinga zigaragara, like I wanted it done in a particular way. And this guy literally arambwira ngo ariko nuko bikorwa, ngo nuko nguko dusanzwe tubikora. I was like, this is one of the examples that I was very shocked that this person can just outright tell me ngo nuko nguko bikorwa, nuko bigomba gukorwa. So the ability to learn, the ability to adapt, and the ability to look at things in a different perspective and not being fixated on the way things have always been done. And this is what is holding back our education, because we're so fixated on how education looked like 50 years ago, 70 years ago, instead of looking at what does it require us today to survive in today's economy. What skills do I need? How do I adjust my thinking to be able to fit into what the economy needs today? Right now, I don't need to bring someone, for example, interior designers. I'm sorry, I might use AI to take pictures of my house and say, okay, give me an interior design that could go well with my house. I might get that. But where I cannot beat human touch is having a person who understands the combination of AI and technology, but can also put a touch and say, Alan, I know in the Rwandan context, having, for example, a photo of me on the beach in my bikinis may not be appropriate for my living room. That is just a simple example. So having someone who can contextualize is never going to be replaced, is never going to be replaceable. So we need to think about not just the hard skills, but even the soft skills. Someone who will come here and understand the way Rwandan culture works is different from the Kenyan culture, from the Ugandan culture. And so those are skills that we don't think about when we're thinking about the AI revolution and the technology evolution, because we are so taken by the technical stuff. So we need to also be thinking about the soft parts, where we will need a lot of people to bring in creativity, to bring in critical thinking, to bring in cultural context and so forth. So yeah, this is how those are all skills that will be really valuable.
Thanks. Thank you, Alan. We are getting close to the time we've set for the end of our space, but allow me to bring in some few interventions, but please be brief as you can. Allow me to bring in Dr. Jennifer. I don't know if you have a contribution or a question. Please try to be brief, everyone, and for us to keep the time we've set to end our space or go beyond, but not a lot of minutes. Dr. Jennifer, as we wait for Dr. Jennifer, are you set? Great. What is your contribution or question? And if it's a question, who would you like to respond among the speakers? Please, again, we try to be brief because of time. Thank you.
Yes. So first of all, I just wanted to compliment on what they've talked about. Yeah, they've talked about how this AI is to wants to like automate repetitive tasks and other tasks that take much of the time, like administrative tasks. So I just wanted to say that people should not see AI as something that has come to take away jobs, rather than they should see it as something that has come to complement what is being done. So here I can talk of efficiency. It's bringing efficiency in the work that we already do. I can also say that it also helps to improve like the environment we work in. I would also like to say that this AI is good because many people are really learning to work hard, because people used to relax saying, oh, if I don't do this, no one else will do it, and you just sit back and relax. But then now with AI, people are now becoming so competitive. They are working hard because they're thinking that AI is going to take their job. But now I have a question, and I would like to address it maybe to Victor, if he's still there. My question is about the these ethical guidelines they are developing. Like, how are people taking it? Do they really trust it? That maybe there is privacy in their data, especially when working with these generative AI tools such as ChatGPT and others. Do people really believe that the data is being protected by that? And another thing again is about AI. So are you still hearing me? I know I have unstable
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
So another thing is about the decisions being made. Some people will rely on AI decisions 100%, and you find that there are issues because sometimes they can be ineffective, and you find that some people will even, it will be unfair to some people. I think you've heard about such cases, especially this recommender system. So I'm just wondering, like, is there anything being done about it? Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. Victor, you wanna engage or weigh in on what Jennifer just asked?
Yes, I believe Jennifer asked like quite a more of a precise question, like how do people think of the ethical guidelines? But maybe I would take it a little bit aback and say, like, even people know what are those guidelines? What do they say? Well, maybe just to give it just to give an overview of these ethical guidelines. They are principled. They have like this couple of principles that maybe you can. There's beneficence, there's non-maleficence, there is autonomy, there is justice, there is explicability, there's accountability, there's privacy, and of course there is robustness and safety. What do I mean by that? Maybe you can go in the details, but I'm not going to take this time to explain them. But to respond to that question itself, we have that policy in place. That's why we've put that policy in place, so that not only even all of us, the whole ecosystem, should benefit from an AI, but that is ethically guided. How do we ensure that that will happen? We've created an AI office. An AI, a responsible AI office that now we are staffing. That is going to be under the Ministry of ICT. Of course, now we are starting to staff them, and then from there they are going to do that, like those detailed activities to ensure that these ethical guidelines are well known by the people, to ensure that even the solutions that are coming in, how do we audit them? All these details are going to be ensured by that office. Again, let me just emphasize on this thing. Of course, the AI has been accepted just last year. So we are into that development. By the way, we are among the few countries in Africa, at least, that have adopted a comprehensive AI policy at national level. Nonetheless, there is a lot of work that is needed. We need to work together with most of you, all of you, especially the academia that I believe Dr. Jennifer represents so well. Yeah, thank you for I think that was the question, but if there is any other question, I can answer it quickly, if I still have the mic.
Victor, before you let go of the mic, allow me to just ask you one more question that probably falls on your docket. And there's a listener, Visca, I hope I mentioned your name correctly. He talks about overregulation that can stifle AI progress. And he gives an example of, of Europe. What do you think about overregulation, if there is something like overregulation?
Yeah, I believe that overregulation can really stiff innovation, and that's not what we want to achieve. Maybe even to reiterate a little bit on the use cases that I believe you asked me a while ago about what are the real. Let's go beyond the policy. What are the use cases? Among the use cases, there are use cases in health, for instance, right? And health, of course, if you're not very observant, of course, health is a bit sensitive. Like health data, it is linked to people's health and everything. So there is a lot of regulations in the health system, and rightly so. But then how do we go around that? How do we ensure that the AI policy, the regulations are ensuring that we are not stifling innovation? So one of the things that maybe I may mention among the use cases, there is a very good use cases that is done by research that is done by IRCAD, that exploring ultrasound in screening treatment. Ultrasound, like, it's a very low cost tool, but they're utilizing AI, the images and everything, and just to empower that very low cost tool to be able to come up with like insights that normally the tool couldn't achieve it by itself. With a lot of data, with training and everything, they can even see like fetal disease and everything. So, and how do they operate in a very regulated sector like health? That is something that we are working on. I cannot say like we have already achieved that, but we are aware of that. We've seen like these use cases and how they encounter. But that's exactly how we develop this type of policies and regulations. We work with people who are practicing in those sectors, who can really tell us like the pain points, because the Ministry of ICT, of course, has that overseeing view. but does not have like the details of each sector. The sectors will differ. The sector of health will differ from the sector of education. So it's about the practitioners, the people who are creating these use cases, to come up with these. We work together. We have like we have like that framework, but you're going even to frame it even further through the AI lab. I think last time I mentioned about it, but this will be like a platform where use cases, businesses around AI, where all the ecosystem around AI really meet and brainstorm and even see what can be done. Where can we get the angel investors to invest in the startup? I don't want to take much of your time, but there is a lot that maybe we can unpack maybe further, but if time allows and if this good initiative from New Times keep recurring, I think we'll get opportunity to unlock all of these things.
Thank you, Victor, for weighing in on both questions. We have a couple of comments coming in. We have, allow me to read a few of them. Nsanga Sylvie said, an interesting convo at New Times. Also, inequalities brought by technology in general and AI in particular, especially in DCI, developed countries, tend to benefit mostly the educated, privileged, and actually leaving behind the majority. And this brutal and aggressive way tech is being imposed. And also in the comment section we have Ikirangwa. He said, ain't in RW, that is Rwanda, no Rwandese, but it's not only AI. There is robotics, there is mere machines. Everyone, whichever way is going to be affected. Give an example of a wall plastering machines. This affects masons and porters. It's a whole jinx of things to think about. From Riggs, he asked, are these policies or frameworks available for public access? Victor, you can respond to Mr. Riggs' question through the comments. Because of time, we would allow you to answer it through the microphone, but please, if you can, respond through the comment section. Also, from Albert Mugisha, we have comment in brackets, speakers can speak to it if there is time. I think there is also a need for companies to rethink how they design their planning. Strategic planning needs to be more adaptive and possible more frequent strategic changes. Also from Shamim Nirere, he said, thank you for this timely conversation. As an educator who uses generative AI in my day-to-day tasks and incorporating machine learning and metacognition in our work, there is so much potential for AI in transforming teaching and learning. Thank you too. And this is a question from Iber Dushime. He said, first of all, AI as a whole is not mature enough to deprecate a human delusion, a delusion problem, AGI is still a theory and accountability. My question is, why do your kids be smarter with ChatGPT or them figure the things out as they learn? Well, Victor, allow me to send this in your corner as well. Please respond to this. And as we come to an end of our conversation, Malik, let me bring you on one more time. I want to ask you this question. What AI tools do you see as game changers in Rwanda's employment landscape? And in what way will they bring the impact that is expected?
Thank you again. Still really amazing conversation. So to come back on the tools, let's look at the general populations of Rwandans. So what majority of them do, right? I think if I'm not mistaken, over 60% of young people in Rwanda are employed in in agriculture sector. So ubwo ndahita mpera aho ngaho. So the best tools we can focus on now or developing now will be tools that we can use in agriculture sector. Yeah. So and then some of these tools have been started to be developed, by the way, but it's still ongoing. But people would want to really like more of like how do I say this? So tools that uses AI to monitor crops, for example, predict weather patterns, etc. And this might not be as expensive or high tech as in terms of requiring a lot of data processing. Will be small machines or sensors that are installed mu mirima y'abantu to then give them the right information on time mu gihe bari guhinga. And we are even talking about connecting high tech like AI to basic technology, ku buryo people would be able to interact with AI using their future phones. Za zindi twita za gatoroshi. Yeah. We can look into other tools in education, as we said, like AI tools in educations that support really fast learning. Some of them, there is like Khan Academy, AI tutor. So this is a platform that uses AI tailor learning experience, so providing feedback, quizzes, customized lessons, etc. I think for people who want to do also their MBA, I think Quantic School is a really good one that they should look at. It's a purely gamified master's degree. I did this a few years ago, and it was the best investment that I could invest in. And there's a lot of other tools that we should really look at in terms of AI and healthcare. Ubwo I'm trying to avoid kujya muri generative AI. Ariko ningaruka muri generative AI, let me even just talk about ChatGPT on its own. Yeah. ChatGPT is as vast as it can be as a generative AI. Gusa icyo tugomba kwiga, it's prompting. How do we prompt ChatGPT, or how do we prompt any generative AI? Usually what I tell people when it comes to generative AI is that the first draft is very important. Yeah. So do not go to AI and then say, write me a letter. No, write a letter for yourself and give it the basic data. Give it a heart, give it a soul, and then ask ChatGPT or any other generative AI tool you are working with to improve it, enlarge it. Yeah. Use generative AI to give you more data and more information, and then build for you a really good case study. So I would say if we can really learn a lot about how to use generative AI, rwose dushatse twanaguma kuri ChatGPT, because ChatGPT now is as huge as it can be. We just need to learn how best to invest. To prompt it, and then make sure that first draft count when it comes to use generative AI. Yeah. If you are into visual, I think so far Mid Journey is the best on the market in terms of creating really good prompts and then good visual graphics, etc. And then maybe another hack I can give people. Ubu ngubu, the same way hari Google or Wikipedia, there is actually a version of that of AI. It's called Futurepedia. I think it's futurepedia.ai or futurepedia.com. So it's a big platform that has literally any generative AI that you would imagine that has already existed. You would actually ask a question and then it will come back to you with different generative AI options that you want to use. And some of them are free, are freemium. And then others you may need to invest some coin to use those tools. So it will be hard for me to be very specific on a tool A or tool B, but generally I think I would say investing mu bintu turi gukoresha mu isoko ry'umurimo And if you want to go with generative AI, let's learn how to prompt. Let's learn how to give a really good draft. And then also tackling a little bit kuri kiriya kibazo babajije mbere. I think what we should really focus on also in terms of education for either abana batoya cyangwa se n'abantu bakuru is to train ourselves on critical thinking and then train ourselves to talk and have a conversation with machine learning or in artificial intelligence. Kubera yuko, as I said, it's really the soul we give, and then it's what we get. And then to close on this is no one is an expert in AI yet, especially generative AI. This is a very new technology and it's moving so fast. Every day there is an incredible change. So then as this is happening, let's continue to stay on the top. Hanyuma noneho buri muntu na industry ye ashaka ha focusing avuga ati ngewe I'm gonna really focus on learning this particular tool because in the near future it will help me on A, B, C, D. Thank you. I think that on Togo channel, but that's my take on that.
Malik, thank you very much. You've done well. Thank you. They're quite clear, your contributions. And before we close, allow me to bring in Pamela and Alan. Pamela, will start with you. I want you to just look into your crystal ball and tell me what you think the future of work will look like, say in the next 10 years in Rwanda as we embrace AI. What do you think the future of work will look like? And then Alan, if you can just come in immediately after Pamela and respond to the question by Sylvie. She talked about the inequalities that come up with technologies and especially AI. How can that be addressed? So the floor is yours if the two of you can take over and then we can close.
Thank you, Tessie. The future of employment, I would say, belongs to the learners, people who do not cease to learn. The future of employment, I think it will be a little bit easier, with the new technologies. We are talking about new technologies in 2024, but I am also looking at new technologies in 2030, 2050. So I suppose human being will keep creating new stuff. So life and employment will get more easier, but again, it belongs to the people who will not stop learning, because Malik just said no one is an AI expert as per now. So we really need to keep learning. I would say we need to continue to dance to the rhythm of the future. Whenever a new thing comes in, let's embrace it and go with it. Weigh the pros and cons, leverage on the opportunities. Because all of this is coming to really make our life, our jobs, our careers more productive, but in an easier way. So we need to only pay attention so that these things do not make us transform us into lazy people. Yeah. So the future belongs to learners, to people who embrace opportunities and who do not shy away, who do not see these as threats. So in the coming 10, 15, 20 years, life will be easier with a lot more, technologies or artificial intelligence or whatever the name it will have in that time. But I believe if we are optimistic and, aggressive, we will make it. Yeah. Over to Alan.
Thank you. Sylvia, I think that's a really good question. Like any other inequalities, AI definitely comes with its own. And most of it, I think, has to do with access to quality education, access to opportunities to learn. So being intentional to avail such technologies, not just in certain schools, for example, but finding ways to get these technologies even to kids in remote areas, for example, and creating infrastructure to allow them to be able to learn and tap into these opportunities is a good start. I think the other thing is thinking about AI from our own perspective, because AI is fed on what we give it. So if we don't get involved, for example, Rwandans as an example, if we don't feed AI from, let's say if I don't go to the market in Kimirongo and say the price of tomatoes this week is on this, is costing this much, the AI tool available or the generative AI that is out there is going to feed off with information that it's receiving from India, from the US, and not in Rwanda. And this is where we need to really not just sit back and let people drive these technologies for us because they become biased. So we need to also, get involved, do what you can, especially if you have the skills, if you have the knowledge and you can contribute, please do. The other thing is, as AI, comes and creeps into our lives, we need to think about people with disabilities. And I think in a way, it's actually really good for them because with technology, you can develop a lot of tools that people with disabilities can take advantage and leverage to have equal access to some of these opportunities. But we have to be very intentional, and especially because you find that people who create these technologies, they really undermine the importance of inclusivity. So we need to think about people who are developing these tools, people who are doing machine learning and feeding information to these machines. Can they think about the person who cannot walk, the person who doesn't have, who is visually impaired? Do we have this consciousness at the back of our minds as we build these technologies? Because at the end of the day, inclusivity and equality comes with that consciousness when we are working on this. I think Malik wants to jump in on this. Malik, please, by all means. But yeah, that would be my take, is really we have to be conscious. We have to be feeding this technology with our own authentic information as well. Malik, over to you.
Thanks, Alan. So, urumva ikintu kimwe gihari ni uko abantu bakora technology at the end of the day baba bashaka inyungu, so they don't do it mostly for social good. Yeah, so ni nayo mpamvu usanga rimwe na rimwe bataza in our markets, in our developing countries, etc. Because tools bakoze, maybe there is not even market demand kuri market yacu. Yeah. So what does that mean? It means that niba igihugu cy'u Rwanda ubu ngubu gituwe n'abantu miliyoni 13 cyangwa se 14, hari opportunities and there's a purchase power abantu bafite, hari n'ibyo bakeneye. So icyo twebwe tugomba gukora nk'abanyarwanda ni ukureba izo opportunities tutitaye cyane kuri ziriya demande zindi cyangwa se biriya bariya abandi baba barakoreye, right? Twavuga tuti I gave an example that 60% of young people in Rwanda are employed in agriculture. So that's a huge opportunity for someone to invest in. Yeah. To invest in if you want to help, or if you want to support, but also to invest in because there is money there. So for people in this industry, nizi opportunities. There's so much opportunities that are there. Tutagomba gutegereza iyo inequality, because someone who has developed that mostly ari kureba we market, sibyo? Ka market nk'u Rwanda k'abantu 13 ntacyo kamutwaye, nta nicyo kamurebaho, as opposed to his market of China or India of billions y'abaturage. So really, we Rwandans need to take this back in our hands, hanyuma we promote and then push to create our homegrown solutions. Sibyo, we came back to umuganda, we came back to zindi initiatives. So what is a version of all of that muri AI cyangwa se muri technology muri rusange iri buze gufasha the most untapped or unsupported population?
Thank you, Malik. Thank you, Alan, for weighing in on Sylvie's comment. Sylvie, I hope you got the feedback and the opinions from our speakers, both Malik and Alan. We really have exceeded the time we had set, and it's all because the conversation was interesting, but we have to end it here. Thank you so much, speakers. Pamela, thank you. Malik, thank you. Alan, thank you. Victor, for making time. This is the second time you were present on the first space, and these are all very educative and insightful conversations. Thank you so much for your time. And dear listeners, thank you so much for also tuning in. We appreciate it, and we are doing this as often as we can, as the New Times talking about different topics. We are on demystifying AI. Today's topic was about whether the question whether AI is here to take our jobs or empower our workforce. So last times was about aligning AI with the Rwandan culture, which was also an interesting conversation. We'll also have more in the future. So allow me to thank you so much. Also, let me thank my co-host, Tessie. Thank you so much, Tessie.
Thank you, Davis, and thank you to all our speakers. Remember, this conversation is recorded. I know Matilde is asking about the recording. This conversation is recorded, and it can be available to you. But thank you so much.
Great, thank you. And well, allow me to wish you a wonderful rest of the evening, the night. Bye.